Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Giri. Good afternoon, Tyagi sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Tyagi sir.
Hello, Manoj. Good afternoon.
How are you, sir?
Welcome, welcome.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Dr. Krishna and Professor
afternoon.
Bhaskar Rao.
Hello, sir.
Garu.
Good afternoon, sir. Good
Hello,
afternoon.
sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir. Can we start, sir, or we should wait, sir? Hello.
I think we can start.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon and welcome you all. Today we have very interesting talk by our eminent scientist and ex-DGM, Dr. Tyagi sir. This is the fourth talk of IMS-IMD lecture series that was initially planned and now we have started it. It is in response of the commemorate to the 75th anniversary of the independent India, and we are celebrating AZADI ka Amrit Mahotsav. So now I'll request Dr. Kohli sir kindly introduce the speaker, sir.
Thank you, Giri.
Thank you, sir.
And greetings to everyone and welcome to the revived lecture series on this auspicious occasion of the 75th anniversary of our independence. And I'm very happy to introduce Air Vice Marshal Professor Ajit Tyagi. In fact, Professor Tyagi doesn't need any introduction to this audience, but at the same time, I think it will be very useful for us to actually see his eminent background. And it's very important that we understand his contributions to the science of meteorology over a long tenure. and also very appropriate topic that he is going to share his thoughts on. Professor Tyagi is currently a senior advisor at the Integrated Research and Action for Development, also known as AZADI, in New Delhi. And he's also a member of the WMO World Weather Research Program Working Group on Tropical Meteorology Research. Earlier, he had served as the Professor Koteswaram Chair with the Ministry of Earth Sciences. Soon after retiring as the Director General of Meteorology of IMD. And before coming to IMD, he also served as Assistant Chief of Air Staff in Meteorology in the Indian Air Force. He had served as Permanent Representative of India with WMO and was also a member of the Executive Council. And he had served on the governing councils of the SARC Meteorological Research Center and also IITM Pune. And in fact, as Director General of Meteorology of IMD, he actually led the modernization of IMD's services and brought significant improvements in the weather information and forecasting and warning of high impact weather events in the country. And under his leadership, the agro advisory services were extended to almost 640 districts. He played an important role in organizing the South Asian Climate Outlook Forum, in which, in fact, I am privileged to have been associated with him from my responsibilities with WMO Secretariat. And in fact, through his cooperation and strong support, that SASCOF became a reality. And in fact, I am very grateful to him for playing that pioneering role in making sure that SASCOF really came into being and was also supported by IMD in the initial stages to contribute to the global framework for climate services. And in fact, relevant to the particular topic of today, he has been actively associated with the Indian Meteorological Society. And in fact, he extended that experience even to initiate the planning of the South Asian Meteorological Association, which is actually a great success, though it started only recently. It is doing a lot of good work on a regional scale. And in fact, he was also responsible for starting what is known as South Asian Heat Health Information Network, SAHIN, as part of the activities led by IRADE. So in that sense, he actually is playing a key role in bringing together the meteorological community and serve the society in a better way. So with that, I'm really happy to invite Professor Tyagi to give his lecture on role of meteorological societies. Dr. Tyagi.
Thank you, Dr. Giri and Dr. Kumar, for your kind words. It had been really a long journey to be associated with all of you, and with your support and guidance, we had been able to do a bit to improve the state of meteorological societies in India and also in our neighboring countries. I'm thankful to IMD and the Indian Met Society for inviting me to give this fourth AZADI AMRIT MAHOTSAV series of lectures. It was to happen in somewhere in February and March, but because of the change in the command of the Indian Met Society, it is now taking place. But thanks once again to both Indian Met Department and Indian Met Society. I'm also thankful to all the distinguished participants in this seminar, in this webinar. It shows that you are committed to the cause of promoting meteorological society. Because it is not an official event, and anybody who joins these events shows that they are motivated and to propagate the cause of meteorology. So this opening remarks. My presentation layout, somebody is going to, Giri, I had requested Dr. Patnaik to upload my presentation.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. Please wait. We are doing from our end. If you want, shall we present or you want to present from your side?
No, you do. I'm not good at. There may be some glitches from my end, so it's better.
Okay, sir. Give me some time. We are up.
Okay. So anyway, by the time you load it, let me give see the outlay of my presentation. I'm starting with the historical background of the meteorological societies, because we need to understand that the origin of these societies, how did it take place, and how have they evolved over a period of time to address the emerging demands, both of the science and the society. This is very important because it's not a static, though a broad vision and remains the same, but its application is what is more important. So we'll start with the historical background and see how the Met societies then have evolved and what is the current status. There are challenges in managing these societies, but they also offer a lot of opportunities for us to contribute to both to science and for the betterment of society. Now, if you look at the history, it will be interesting to note that Met societies precede national Met services in many countries. And in the typical case of Britain, may I have next slide, please? So the Royal Met Society was traces its origin to a event where on 3rd April 1950, some of the leading scientists, they decided to start a society to promote advancement and extension of meteorological science by determining the laws of climate and the meteorological phenomena in general. So this is what the scientific and the scientists were looking at it, and they thought that a society will help in promoting and advancing this part. And it is only after this society was formed, after a few years, the UK Met Office started in, next slide, 1850. Next slide, please. In 1854, by Vice Admiral Fitzroy, who had a very extensive experience of voyages across the globe and also faced various adverse weather or severe weather conditions. So essentially it was meant to understand the climatology of the weather over the seas and how to negotiate and how to have the safeguard of it. Next slide. So it is much later in 1866, followed by 1883, that society got the royal name added to it by the grant by Queen Victoria. And thereafter, its journey has been really remarkable in promoting both science and its capacity building initiatives and also advancement of community. So this is what the background, and most of the countries in the Europe at the same time also were on the similar level of understanding having the Met societies, the necessities of this. So like France, the French society started in 1852, followed by the societies in Italian Meteorological Society in 1865. In Asia, the first society was formed in Japan in 1882. It started as a Tokyo Meteorological Society, and thereafter in 1888, it became a Meteorological Society of Japan and upgraded to the full-fledged Japan Meteorological Society in 1941. In Germany, the Geops Meteorological Society started in 1883. So these are the societies which in the first stage of advancing the meteorological science, the primary focus of this at that time was to have a better grip on the science of weather and climate. Next slide. Next slide. So when it comes to America, the next country to take plunge as far as the Meteorological Society formation was the US, which in 1919, the Charles Franklin Brooks of the Blue Hill Observatory in Milton, Massachusetts started this. And most of the members at the time came from the US Signal Corps, which looked after the US Army weather and also the US Weather Bureau. And they started the Bulletin of American Meteorological Society, the prestigious Bulletin of American Met Society, because at that time the monthly weather review was being managed by the US Weather Bureau. So it came as a supplement to the monthly weather review. Next slide, please. So now these are the societies which in the last century started and mostly in Asia and also started forming in the Latin America. So it started the Chinese Meteorological Society in 1824, followed by Hungarian, Finland, Philippines, and then the Indian Met Society was formed in 1957, followed by Czech Met Society of Chinese Taipei, then Korean Meteorological Society and Spain Meteorological Society. So over a period of time, it started from Europe, followed in America, then in Asia, and gradually, as we'll see, it is going into Latin America, Africa. So the progression had been depending on the economic and scientific development in different continents. Next. Okay, so this is how the societies started forming in Latin America, followed by Africa, and also the societies in Australia and Canada were earlier the chapters of the Royal Met Society, but during this period they started as autonomous meteorological society of their countries in the 1980s. Next. So this journey continues, and recently the focus primarily had been in Africa, where the countries are now started forming the Met Societies, and also over in Asia. So we see that in our neighborhood, Bangladesh has started because of COVID, probably they had been dormant. In Sri Lanka, there is no Met Society, but the meteorologists are part of the Association of Disaster Risk Management. And also in Nepal, there is a society for hydrologists and meteorologists, which started in 2002. So some beginning has taken place in South Asian neighboring countries to have a Met Societies, and we want this to move forward and also strengthen over a period of time. Next. So for what we learned from this history, the idea was to tell you that it is not something which is organic, which takes place over a time to both state of the science and the societal demands. So if you see chronology, the geographical spread, as I told you earlier, started in Europe, America, Asia, Latin America, Africa. Hello? Next, earlier slide, please. Okay. So, but the spread has been unsatisfactory. As of now, there are more than 187 W member countries are there, but we have just 60 countries where they are Met Societies, and many of these societies are in a very early stage So only some 20 or societies are really active, and other 20 are in the stages of which are developing into a good state of societies. So out of say good about 190, just 40 to 50 societies exist. So this is not a happy state if we look at the global, and most of the least developed and developing countries don't have societies which need the Met societies very badly. So world community, and unfortunately we had been associated and we have got great praise for the World Meteorological Organization to support national Mets services per se, but somehow they don't have probably the priority to support, and they think that this is the national Met services that should support the national Met societies. So from WMO side, I think there had not been much of initiative, and that is one of the reasons why many of the countries in the developing world don't have these Met societies. Also, as I told you, the standard and quality of the Met societies varies widely, and as we'll see it, there is a lot of learning needs to be done, and now with virtual communication, it is possible. And everybody is now looking for international cooperations, collaborations, regional collaborations. So this is the right time that we start focusing in bringing our societies to the next level. Okay, and role of Met societies, as I told you, has evolved over a period of time, and this shows that the societies have to be dynamic, proactive to address the growing demands of the society and advancements in the science. Next slide, please. So if we look from the presentations and the role of the societies, which over a period of time we have seen, and their activities, which I'll cover in the next slides, is that essentially the beginning was done by the scientists, and their focus was on the advancement of meteorological science alone at that time. But as they had a better understanding of the subject, they included the meteorology and allied sciences. And then by 1940s, 50s, they applied meteorology because of the Second World War and the technologies, the radar technologies, and followed by the satellite technologies. So all these started becoming part of the Met services, and also the meteorological societies have started addressing to these. And then, of course, the Earth system, which encompasses ocean, atmosphere, land surfaces. So they also now have been becoming part of Met societies in advanced countries. Yes, it is yet to take taken into consideration by emerging societies in developing worlds. And then, of course, the climate change. I think now, so all societies have started addressing to this important aspect. Along with the science part, another important thing which the societies have done in decades is the capacity building, outreach, DRR, and the sustainable development goals to address how do we address and so these are the important aspects. Science is important, but equally important is from the society point of view, and the Met societies is the capacity building, outreach, awareness also. So this is very important. And as I mentioned that, yes, now there is opening up, there is a regional and international collaborations are taking place, MOUs between the societies. There is a global volunteer forums which are there. There are online programs which is enabling global reach. So this is a very important development. And of course, essentially, initially it used to be a close community of the meteorologists and then of the government sector, but for a period of time, it's heartening to see, particularly it has become a essential component of all developed Met societies, and it is also being now taken up by other societies. And it is really heartening to see that how proactive and responsive the Met societies have become, that they've started, I think, work on climate and community, artificial intelligence and citizen science. So this is very important that we don't be rigid to our original framework, but have to be open and responsive to the emerging advancements and demands. Next slide, please. Now, if you look at the American Met Society, it started with the monthly weather review journal, which was earlier part of Weather Bureau, but it moved to the American Met Society. It's 150 years completed, and it continues to be a journal of eminence. But over a period of time, equally important journals have started, and as last year, they've started two journals, which is on community science and artificial intelligence. So they have started with one journal, which is continues to have a position of eminence, but along with that, they have got 13 journals now, and over a period of time, depending on the scientific fields in which the advancements were taking, specialized journals have been started. So it starts with atmospheric sciences, applied met and climatology, physical oceanography, atmosphere and oceanic technologies, weather forecasting, when part of it, earth interaction, journal of hydromet, weather, climate and society, and as said that yes, we have now artificial intelligence and earth system in community. Similarly, the Royal Met Society also has got a similar, I think, approach, and they also have got a very prestigious journal QJRMS with them, which continues. But they also have started journals related to the climate, to the communication part of it. So the societies have to be alive to these. You can't just remain tied to single journal part of it. So another important thing, as I told you, this was for the promotion of the meteorology as a science and its applications. So these all scientific activities are being taken care, which is of course the primary aim of the society. But along with this, during the last 4 to 5 decades, the education part also has taken a preeminence in all the societies. And the idea is this program to address to the school children, part of it, the graduates, part of it, and the Royal Met Society has a very, very elaborate system through the MetLink part, which enables the capacity building of the teachers, supporting materials, which provides on weather and climate with practicals, learning of instruments. So it is very good. Please, next slides. I am on the education part of it. Sorry. Yeah. So these are the sorry, I think there has been some. So the journals which have been started to take up new topics, both in American Met Society and the Royal Met Society. And as it is last year, they have started the journals on artificial intelligence, climate and community, a part of it. So this is what their responsiveness to the emerging demands are there. And another important thing which I mentioned was the education is taking an important place in the role of societies, and a large amount of efforts are being put in by these societies to have education programs at different levels, right from the schools, K-12, training of the teachers. Next slides, please. Okay, so the Royal Met Society has got a very ambitious program through the Met Link, which provides online support to the teachers on weather and climate. And they have got practicals, experiments. They loan instruments to the students in the schools. Next. American Med Society has got a very elaborate. They have focus on K2 teachers, enabling the teachers strengthening, and they've got certified school teachers, and they have more than 22,000 teachers who have been trained by this under this program, and millions of students have benefited. So at this scale, they are working. The country as such is so advanced, but their efforts to further educate their young population is really remarkable. So they have a K2 teachers program. They have a Project Atmosphere, Project Ocean, dedicated data streaming programs are there, which supplies specific teaching materials. Certified AMS teacher program is there. There is a lot of education material is there, which is available. And then there's a undergraduate course packages are there, which gives extra credit to the students if they complete this program. Next, please. The third thing which is that apart from the education and part of it, there is a need which these societies have felt because of the demand of the professionals in various sectors, private as well as the government sector. So to assist them to have some accreditation done, and the both American Met Society and the Royal Met Society have got these programs. Royal Met Society have got certified meteorologist program, and the registered part of this meteorologist program certification. And American Met Society provides for the broadcasters, which is a very important segment of communicating the meteorological services information. So AMS satisfies the broadcast meteorologist and also certified consulting meteorologist. So this is become a hallmark, and all employers do look for such certification. Next. Another thing which they enable is the career progression of the students, and through various programs, right from career guide and tools, various guides are there for then followed by formal courses which the universities offer, but then also the informal courses which the Met Societies are now offering. They're also linked with the PhD opportunities in various forms. The mentoring is another important service which they are now encouraging. Both mentors and mentee could be linked, and they do enable students to have a work experience at various places. The skill development related to aviation, marine meteorology, and other issues also are being provided, and they are now promoting in a big way the careers in the climate change. So it's not just the training and education, but how their careers and their employability is there. The societies are also, so that keeps the people engaged. They look forward for the societies, not only for some education, but also how they can be gainfully employed. Next, please. Now, coming to Indian Meteorological Society, this background, see, it was on 44th session of the Indian National Science Congress held in Calcutta, which dealt with the societal aspects part of it. So naturally, the necessity to have a meteorological society was felt, and it was decided to have a Met Society, and Director General of then, Dr. Basu, started the society in 1957, and we had a very, very powerful first executive council. All eminent names in the meteorology were the part of it. Dr. Desai, Dr. Banerjee, Dr. Mathur, Pisharoti. So it started on a very good note, but as we see part of it, in the beginning, it was essentially a departmental activity. Next slide, please. So this is a personal communication from Shri Raghuvan Saab, who was very keen supporter of the activities of Met Society, and he in his personal communication wrote to me that I inquired, I wanted to know about the origin of Met Society. So he said that though he joined India Met Society in the very first year in Delhi, but in entire initial period, he said it was essentially IMD activity. Functions used to take place under the IMS banner, but it used to be mostly attended by the IMD. So I think this is what happens in the beginning. Well, they do require institutional support to have that. And this was that stage of early history. But later on, from 1980s and particularly in the 1990s, when it started opening up. Next slide, please. Other organizations, particularly the ISRO, SEC, where a lot of eminent meteorologists were working, I think opened up door of the Met Society, and the first Met in 1992 started in Ahmedabad, and the Ahmedabad chapter was started, and thereafter it was followed by other chapters which also became active during this period, especially the Chennai chapter, Kolkata chapter. So this is how. Otherwise, initially only the Delhi and Pune chapters used to be active, but with the opening up and enrolling the other organizations, I think the India Met Society started progressing very well in 1990s. Next slide, please. So I must say, is doing pretty well as far as the major activities are concerned, and it is, I think, we can feel proud that some of these activities are going on unbroken over a long period of time. One important thing which I think which is not getting due recognition is the number of awards which the IMS offers. It is much more than the government systems, which the awards and recognition of work done by the meteorologists in their research. The IMS offers starting from international award to the Young Scientist Award and awards various specialized topics and fields of the meteorology. So this is a very good, I think, work being done by the society. And over a period of time, the token money which was being given to awards also has been increased substantially, reasonably well, I must say. So this is a good activity, and I'm sure in years to come it will further be augmented. Another important thing which is that, yes, right from 1992 onwards, the Met and Met is being held regularly, and over a period of time, participation and the quality of these events have improved, no doubt. On an average, 400 to 500 papers are being submitted, and there are about 150 participants do take part in these events. So this is a good sign. Apart from this, IMS Pune chapter organizes the annual monsoon workshop. They are publication not of very, I think, talk about, but then I'm happy that Vayumandal, which in between was not being regularly brought out and it became from quarterly to annual issue, is now back stream, and we have 2 issues per year. Hopefully it will go back to the quarterly journal, and bulletins by various chapters are being taken up, particularly the Pune, Ahmedabad, Chennai, Kolkata. So this is a good thing that some of the chapters are doing good work, and we also had started a popular book series. This also could be a good source for the general public. Specialized workshop for media teachers and others are being conducted by chapters. Society also has MOUs with the med societies and also professional societies within the country. So to work together in different fields and to learn from the best practices. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned you, today we have more than 30 chapters. But it's not a very happy state to say that not all chapters are active. In fact, like med societies, also there is a wide variation in involvement and performance of these chapters. There are chapters which are doing excellent work. They are autonomous, so IMS Pune chapter is one of them, which organizes workshops regularly, also distinguished lecture series, and their WhatsApp group is very active and proactive. So this is a good sign that chapters by itself can be, and in fact, they are the source of strength for the Indian Society. And I wish that other chapters also start emulating the example of these chapters. Next. Next. Now, this is the chapter I mentioned you earlier that, see, the opening of the Met Society, I think this was a very important event where all eminent name in the meteorology and the remote sensing, starting from Dr. Pisharoti to the Hausar, Hariharan, Kala, Narayanan, Professor Dr. Pandey, Desai. So they really, I think, similar to what happened in Europe, Britain, or in the US, these people felt the urge to start a Met Society chapter in Ahmedabad, and it started in 1980. And they were the pioneers to start the PropMet. And apart from PropMet, a number of other activities also are being taken regularly by the Ahmedabad chapter. So this is really commendable. And not only these 2 chapters, the Chennai is another chapter which regularly she organizes Northeast Monsoon Workshop, and they have got very good rapport with the state administration in organizing various capacity building in local language. So the chapters, the outreach, capacity building, they can play a very important role. And as case of Chennai, also the Bhubaneswar chapter used to be very active. The Hyderabad chapter, the Guwahati chapter, Calcutta is another. So they are the major chapters, but then same thing cannot be said about the another 15-20 chapters. And we have to look into how we can motivate and encourage these chapters to come up to a next level. Next. Now, awards, as I mentioned you, IMS constituted various awards starting from the IMS International Awards, prestigious Gilbert Walker Award on monsoon research. We have been able, she rightly deserved, eminent monsoon meteorologists have been conferred with this award, starting from Professor Shukla, Professor Das, Monti, Sikasa, Dr. T.N. Krishnamurthy, Dr. Sushna Gadgil Keshamurthy, and Professor P.V. Joseph, and the recently was conferred with the Wilbert Walker Award. So it keeps, and it needs to be popularized to get nomination from the world monsoon community. So this is what the society should do, it that it is a prestigious international award on monsoon research, and monsoon research is a global phenomenon. So we should publicize this award in a bigger way. Next. Apart from this, we have IMS has had biennial awards, which were started by donation of our meteorologists, and they have been renamed, and award money has been increased. So they are on the monsoon research, atmospheric observations and technologies, weather and climate services. Next slide, please. Application of satellite data and also the modeling part of it. And we recently started the IMS Young Scientist Award, which carries handsome money of 50,000 rupees. So this is to promote first authors, young scientists of the age less than 45 years. Next. So the TropMet is an activity which I think every meteorologist or the research worker and young student look forward every year. That TropMet participation becomes an event for, and it started 1992, Ahmedabad chapter, and it has been continuing without break. Even during the COVID years, the TropMet was done in a remote manner, virtual world at Shillong. Shillong was very well managed, and based on that experience, the Intromet 2021 was done at Kochi, you said. So this is COVID virtual, and they were well participation was very good virtually and very well managed. So this is, and based on this, we learned a lot from this, and we could use that in organizing international monsoon workshop this year, which was done to meet the various time zones of eastern and western parts of the globe. So I think it does gives a confidence to the international community that India could, and the AMRIT Society was a very active partner in this international monsoon workshop, can be of the world class. So this is, I think, we should feel proud of the TropMet series of events which take place. Next slide, please. So the silver jubilee of the TropMet, it was a happy coincidence, was also celebrated in SEC Ahmedabad in 2017, and it marked the 25th year of TropMet series of workshops. And workshop, it was inaugurated by the Secretary of Space. Next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah. So Dr. Kiran Kumar, Chairman ISRO, inaugurated this. Secretary, MOES, DG, and the Director SEC were part of the inaugural session, and Professor T.N.K. Krishnamurthy delivered the plenary talk. Next slide. So it was a very I think we had seen a lot of the SEC who were part of the TropMet 92 also participate in this event. So the Intromet It started in 1997 in Delhi. The first instrument took place. It was on the Asian monsoon and then the role of air pollution. It's followed by the instruments every 4th year. The latest instrument in 2022 one was held at QSET. Next slide, please. So these are the historical pictures of the first instrument being held in Delhi and the latest one which was held QSET 2021. And next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah, so these are the various workshops, seminars, which are being conducted by chapters. So it does take place. The activities do take place. Only thing their scale has to increased and also by chapters which are not doing these activities needs to be encouraged to take up these. Next. Popular book series started with on weather satellite by Professor Kelkar and numerical weather prediction by Professor Bhaskar Rao. We are also had on communication by Dr. Srivastava and Keshamurthy on dynamics. So these series have to continue and more topics can be covered by the IMS Society under this series. Next. MOUs, as I mentioned, have started. We have MOU with the Association of Agrometeorologists and also this MOU with the IMS Society and Oceans Society of India. And joint sessions are being held in each other's conferences as part of it, because these are the two areas which are very much related to the objectives and of the Met Society, Indian Met Society. Apart from this, we also have MOUs with American Met Society, Canadian Met Society, and the Australian Met Society, but these are mostly on paper. We need to really make use of their strengths through these MOUs, that how best we can benefit. So this is a good part of that we have MOUs, but how do we fully exploit these MOUs to be taken up. Next. So these are the historical first of glimpses. First president, first executive council, first TopMet, Professor Pisaroti is there, first Intromet, first award of Gilbert Walker, and first PNJSI award to the Keshamurthy side. Next. Now, the current status, if we analyze this and look forward how we have to take it forward, it's doing very well. I would know with the constraints, which used to be a major constraint was the funding till recently. We are able to manage annual activities reasonably well, but it has become a routine. We seems to have reached a plateau, but now we have to move to the next level, and for this we have to be proactive in meeting the emerging scientific and societal demands. It cannot be we cannot continue with the business as usual practice and mindset. We need to enhance and diversify the activities of the society continuously to meet changing needs. So this is very important, and we have to become an authoritative voice on issues related to the weather, climate, and high impact weather. In the country, we should be learned both, we should be respected both within the government system and the general public, the advice, the status reports which we should bring out as the many societies do it. And apart from this, also we have to take up, the Indian Society should take up a leadership role in promoting and assisting met societies in South and Southeast Asia. Next. Now, the constraints which we probably, and the reasons why we are not able to move to the next level is that we don't have a long-term plan. And we have to take up new initiatives, so it requires planning with the funding also in the long run, how it is going to be there. So these are the major challenges. If we are assured of the long-term funding, we can plan long-term activities, because within the tenure of 1 to 2 years, if we put up a proposal, by the time we get funding, the tenure of the NC gets over. So unless we have a funding of next 5 years or 10 years available, assured funding, then only major activities can be planned and put into practice. Infrastructure, both functioning of the office and the staff, is inadequate, and without that support, I think again the functioning of the society does suffer. Now, coming to the membership, we do have a reasonable membership, but it is not, I think, for the country of our size. Just to tell you that the American Med Society have a membership of 13,000, and the Chinese Med Society have a membership of 19,000, and we are stuck at 3,500 or so. So positively, we should target to reach level of 10,000 at least in coming years, spread our wings to the academic institutions and the various other agencies and institutions, so that we can really spread, because the membership are our ambassadors in various sectors which can take our activities forward. They are limited education and outreach activities, but for some one workshop or training programs, we don't have planned systematic national level education or outreach activities, which is very much essential. And also we have to formalize our engagement with the academic institutions, industry, civil society and NGOs. We don't have a formal or institutional engagement with these bodies, which are so important. The current state of climate change and its awareness and adaptation, mitigation, disaster risk reduction, and so on. Next. So for this, we have to be, IMS has to be driven. The way forward is the long-term strategic plan, and NC should not focus on the day-to-day running of the society, and long-term plans cannot be managed by within the tenure of given NC. So these have to be supported by committees and the commissions which the society should form, and where the experts can take these strategic plans to the conclusion. Also, we have to initiate work on climate services. How do we now take this up, promote the private, public, and academia interactions, and also how do we formulate a MET policy. This is also a very important long pending thing happening. Focus has to be now on education and training. Now also there is been a felt need that similar to environment, which is being taught as a in the schools and also in the colleges, syllabus or curriculum related to weather and climate also should be included in the new education policy, and the society should take up this very important part, because this also is linked with the employability, because once you have these topics in the school or the colleges, you can one with the qualifications in MSc in meteorology or atmospheric sciences can get employability also. So this is one important area which needs to be taken up. Now, societies are not run by elected representative. They do guide part of it, but it is the volunteers and experts, and especially the senior people, if we can really engage them in fruitful activities, the societies can immensely benefit. Also, we have been talking about, but somehow consultancy and research projects, which we have got seniors experts with us, we have not been able to take up. So this is another area. Yes, we need to support the chapters to take activities, because ultimately they are the one which really deliver on the ground. And also we have to have international visibility by organizing various international events, and also to take a leadership role by promoting met societies and assisting them in South and Southeast Asia. Next, please. Now, the funding is a concern, and situation has improved thanks to the institutional support and a very liberal donation. Let's acknowledge the donation by Professor Bhaskar Rao and also let's Raghavan Sahib. She really donated and made a beginning which needs to be followed by many of us. Societies do look for the donations, and crowdfunding is a flavor of the day. So let's work on this funding. But apart from this, society has to work on long-term funding from MOES, DST, and Institute of Climate Change and Environment and Forest. Institutional memberships have to increase. As of now, only IMD and NCM are WR institutional members. They can be increased. Industry and CSR under CSR can be a good source of funding. Donations, research proposals can generate funds, and funding support for education and outreach activities can be through various trusts like Ajit Premji trust is there, and then also other trusts are there which promote such activities. Next, please. Now, these are the list of ministries and the departments which have weather and climate as a component in some form or other. And we have to engage these all and many more, right from the center, the state level, and how we can engage them and mutually benefit by interaction is very important and needs to be taken up. And some of the chapters, local chapters, are making use of these interactions, but these needs to be, I think, scaled up and also formalized. Next. Academic institutions. You see, the last presentation or talk given by Professor Dash was very, I think, exhaustive about role of academic institutions in climate and weather and climate. Now we have prestigious institutions where now meteorology, atmospheric sciences, and allied subjects are being taught, starting from the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. And the number of IITs are there, the central universities are there, the state universities are there, and also the private universities are there, the MET, Sharda, SOS, in Bhubaneswar, Terry, SRM University, ISOs are there. But somehow their engagement with the IMS have been limited. We have been organizing the TopMet at some of these institutions, and they have been helpful. But apart from this long-term involvement, and contribution of these these institutions to the IMS has been very limited. So we have to really see that how fruitfully we can engage these institutions, because they have got immense source of knowledge, and also the student who can really volunteer and contribute to the promotion of meteorological science as well as outreach activities. So this is one important area, and that should be taken up through some formal engagement. Next. So I told you volunteers are the need of the hours, and they can do a wide varieties of take up wide varieties of activities, uh, from assisting the chapters, the IMS staff. They can be part of the contribute to the IMS committees and various programs, can become a mentor. Senior people can become a mentor. The students can become a student ambassador their campuses, educate the local community, then adapt a school for weather education. So we have to see that how we can encourage the volunteers to and recognize their and popularize this particular aspect, because no society can run just by the limited number of elected representatives. Next. Now, coming to the Regional Met Society, I'll try to cover this aspect is because this is what is happening as the weather needs no political boundaries, and we are affected regions, and especially the climate change is going to cause lot many such impacts, transboundary impacts also. So and by working together, has been shown by the Royal Met Society supporting the European Met Society. We can really work both for science and technology part, and also education and training by regional collaboration, and supporting the weaker societies in the region. So this is the regional Met Societies have really helped the smaller societies and benefited by the mutual collaborations. Next. So the European Met Society is a very good example. Apart from this, there is a Latin American and Iberian Federation of Meteorological Societies. They are Spanish-speaking countries, for 12 of them. East African Met Society is there. And we have started South Asian Meteorological Society, not society, the association, and African Met Society is the recent addition in this list. Next. So European Met Society is a very successful, I think, initiative in which now they have a 39 member societies. Almost all countries of the Europe are form of this member of this society, and 28 associate members are there. And European Met Society is supporting small countries with the population like Andorra, which is just 75,000 people. So this is what the role the regional Met Societies can really play. Next. Similarly, this is the FISMET acronym for the Latin American Society. There are 12 countries there. It started in 1986. Next. Next, please. Okay, South Asian Meteorological Association was the blessings and guidance of founding members, 50 of them, senior meteorologists from 9 South Asian countries, helped us to form this association on 3rd August 2020. It was very encouraging to see that the countries which are in a difficult situation like Afghanistan and Myanmar, the meteorological representatives of them actively participated and supported this initiative. And the vision of the society is to sharing knowledge of weather and climate without borders, and meteorology for sustainable development of the region are the two. And of course, the capacity building is the key area of activities. Next. These are the objectives. It is essentially, I think, our universal is the advancement of meteorological and allied sciences, the networking, um, application of meteorology for the sustainable development and promote public-private partnership. So these are the standard objectives, part of it which have got no political overtones, but of science and societal part only. Next. And in this COVID period, because society association doesn't have any financial funding available, but thanks to the technology and support from some of the institutions like Dhaka University, the SRM University, we were able to organize many of these webinars virtually. And important among these were the webinar on works of the Nobel laureate, to celebrate that and present by Professor Yasinari and Professor Ajit Rao on Manabe and Hazelman. So it was a very, very, I think, well received, supported by the SRM University, Andhra Pradesh. And another important event was World Meteorological Day event of 2022. It was theme was early warning and early action, and had the privilege to have a keynote address from the Secretary MOS, Dr. Ravichandran, also participating from Dr. Sanjay Srivastava, is the head of the DRR of the SK Bangkok, Professor Kamal from the Dhaka University, Vice Chancellor, Dr. Bhata, Dr. Gyamso, is at DG ECMO, and Dr. Mandira Shrestha, head of the climate services of the ECMO. Similarly, we also have been doing webinars and training workshop. Next, please. Next. Climate science quiz, which was done, and earlier to that ozone quiz was done, which was a virtual quiz with the participation of 13,000 students of the ozone quiz was there. And there was a training workshop on atmospheric observations, which was organized full day workshop. Next. Also, there are events which are on high impact weather events. So heat waves over South Asia, the participation from Bangladesh and India and Sri Lanka. Also, webinar on lightning, how the safety part. We are working in these webinars jointly with our partners, that is Sahin and the Salnet Nepal. Next. So the SAMA is essentially a virtual organization. We have founding members located in all 9 member countries. Advisory panel also 2 from each country is elected. Executive council members from all 9 countries. The key support team is the executive coordination team, which are the volunteers, which are doing all these spread work. And a new initiative which has been taken is the formation of 7 scientific committees, of which numeric weather prediction and the satellite committees have come up with very good recommendations based on the feedback received from the 9 member countries. And we have chalked out a plan of online workshop and training program for the numerical weather prediction WRF model, which will have both the theoretical classes and online practicals with support from the CDAC or the IITM, depending on the availability of resources. We are promoting regional collaboration. Next slide, please. We are working with South Asian Federation of Agriculture Meteorologists, South Asian Field Health Information Network, South Asian Lightning Network. We are also working the EC mode on mountain meteorology and RIMES or capacity building over South Asia. And we are looking forward for collaboration with the other regional bodies. Next. Now, another initiative which is of real interest is International Forum of Met Societies. Is again is a virtual framework where volunteers, senior volunteers are contributing and to unite and exchange and support Met societies worldwide. Next. So among others, its objective is to assist in developing and promoting capacity building efforts that produce effective and sustainable service capabilities in developing countries, assist developing meteorological societies to strengthen themselves, help start new meteorological societies in countries where none exist, facilitate cooperation between meteorological societies worldwide. So I think this is a very good initiative in the developing and least developed countries, how we can help them to start med services or strengthen their existing med societies. Next. So this is the IFMS Council, and Professor Dash from Asia is part of this executive council, and he's also working on education and training initiative of the IFMS. And so it provides IMS linkage to the IFMS and also to SAMA to work on some of these programs together where we can really contribute to this region. Next. So this is okay. Next, please. Now, this is an example of African Med societies which are being now supported. 6 new societies are expected to start this year, and African Regional Med Society is coming up. And there are examples of Andorra and the Iceland, which the European Med Society has supported. So similarly, it is expected these regional Med societies will be able to support some of the new societies through training opportunities and other capacity building programs. Next, please. To sum up, see, the Met societies have an important role, and which is becoming much more urgently required in view of the climate change and uncertainties involved for promoting meteorology and allied sciences and their societal applications. So both science and societies are becoming important, and the Met societies can be a bridge between the two. Within the given constraints, IMS has been performing pretty well, but then we have to build on our strengths. And let me, I think, acknowledge the contribution of past and national councils of the India Med Society, which under difficult funding and other constraints have been able to manage many of these activities. And what really is that the India and the India Met Society has got a potential with so much eminent academic institutions and the meteorologists, large number of students. We can really emerge as a premier Met Society, and I am sure with the present society headed by Dr. Kumar, who has got international experience and networking, we can move to the next level. And of course, we have to also take a leadership role and show our presence in the South Asian countries. And I'm happy both IMD and India Met Society has been helping SAMA in this endeavor. And we do acknowledge and look forward that IMS should be able to extend help through its institutions like IMD, NCMRWF, IITM, and POIS in various training programs and also providing services. So this is there, and I'm very hopeful that together we can make this happen. I'm really thankful to the organizers and the patience of all of you for this talk. I strongly feel that we can do it, and so look forward for support of all of you to the cause of promoting Met Society. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyagi sir, for giving a very comprehensive view about the IMS since its inception and how it has progressed with difficulty, and a lot of progress it has also made, and also what IMS should do also, because there are, yes, as you have pointed out, yes, as now we should have a 10,000 members. Yes, this is also required. We have to improve our membership drive, and your commitments are that the IFMS, International Federation of Met Society, that during your presidency time also, yes, we were deeply involved with them, and a lot of activity also were with that the IFMS, and and particularly the recently that you have also started the how the regional Met Society, that regional Met Society, that is also very important, because an IMS can take leadership, and particularly your contribution for the SAMA, the South Asian Meteorological Society. And yes, this is your initiative, sir, actually. And we have attended many functions, many meetings from the South Asian country. They also were actively involved in this society function. And as you also highlighted, there are many more things IMS can do, and then if people might have got a very good idea about this thing. And yes, we are following you, and we will take guidance, and we are working with you from last many years for in this society, and still whenever we need something, and we are taking your guidance. So your contribution to society is tremendous, and you are the fellow also and president of IMS. Then so all these things as in all capacity have contributed. We have worked together for international event, national event, DropMed, seminar, teaching for teaching faculty, for many things. And this networking has helped IMS to highlight its activity. And thank you very much, sir, for highlighting all these things, and even some guy and giving some things what IMS do further. So that also, I think our new team, our new president, sir, and all things will contribute. So before finally, I'll request our president, sir, to kindly say a few words.
Thank you, Patnaik, and I also join you in warmly thanking Professor Tyagi for this excellent overview, and also his thoughts about the way forward for IMS in particular. And in fact, his thoughts very much resonate well with our own thoughts on how we can go forward and actually raise the profile of IMS. And in fact, as I'm happy to see that Dr. Kelkar also chipped in with his suggestion that I should give some idea on how we want to go forward. And as you rightly pointed out, there are many constraints. For example, for IMS so far has been a kind of voluntary-based society with very little infrastructural support to provide the continuity that it requires. So in fact, we are actually looking at that particular challenge. And also, as you actually clearly indicated, that it's IMS is not just the national council. It has to be driven by the members and their expertise and capabilities. I think that is what we would like to see how we can motivate that. So there are two ways in actually doing that. One is to create and empower thematic working groups, which can actually help the society in focusing on specific aspects that you have pointed out, and also there are many other things that we need to address. So that is one way to do that. The other way is actually to make the local chapters more participatory even in the national level activities. So far, local chapters have been mostly focused on their local activities, and very occasionally, except for things like TropMet, they get into the national activities. But I think on an ongoing basis, the local chapters should be participatory in driving the national agenda for the society. So this is another aspect that we are trying to address. So that said, I think we have taken into account all the gaps that you have identified in IMS activities. As you rightly said, it has reached a kind of plateau. We need to actually shake ourselves and build more energy to actually go to the next level. So that is where we are focusing on. And in fact, I think the major constraint so far has been that we need a very efficient communication mechanism to actually help communicate with the members, and also members to drive the society activities. So that is where I think we need to do some more work. Even in fact, as part of even in the national elections, national council elections, we have seen how challenging it is to contact all the members, and even the participation of the members in the election process has been very low. So these are the things that we have to address to make members more active and more participatory in the society. So that is going to be one of our key focus areas to address. And we are actually working on all these aspects as part of the National Council deliberations. And I hope we will be able to make a mark, and also bring in the capacities that we have, not only within India, so we have a number of overseas membership. We need to see ways to connect to the international community through these members, and make ourselves a capable platform of Indian Meteorological Society. We have so much expertise and enthusiasm. We need to make best use of that, and also give us a good reputation on the international scene. So with those remarks, I once again thank Professor Tyagi for his excellent presentation, and I'm assure him that we'll keep in mind all his suggestions, and try to do our best to address as many as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.